Welcome to 360 Strong Women. Today we're going to do a head to toe. We're just going to keep stretching through, and we're going to do a little bit of myofascial rolling with this roller. Grab your roller, grab a mat. You don't have to have your supported sneakers on. You can be barefoot for this, and we're going to get started. So the first thing we're going to do is just sit right up onto our sits bones like we were doing some yoga meditation, and we're sitting in our easy seated pose. And I'm going to just bring my shoulders up, push them down, bring them around to the front, and bring them back. So just stretching that upper body, opening up the upper back, and then opening up the pectorals, your chest. So up, down, forward, and back. It's like a little seated cat-cow, up, down, forward, and back. Sweep your arms up, take a breath in, exhale it out, and then bring your right hand up, tap your left ear very gently. We're not pulling, we're just being very gently going to stretch out your neck. Very, very, very gentle. Your head is the heaviest part of your body, so we want to be super gentle. We're not pulling on anything. Going to bring it back. Have my apple under my chin. Take my pointer finger, tap my head over my shoulder, sweep my other arm up, gently tap, and then guide. We're not pulling, we're just guiding. So your hand is supporting your head. You're getting this nice stretch in. You're sitting up really nice and tall and breathing in and out. Now I'm going to come back to neutral. I'm going to sweep my arms up. As I exhale, my right hand's going to come behind me. So now look at my shoulders, they're turning. I've got transverse movement as I turn. My left hand's coming over my right thigh. I'm going to breathe in, lift up, and then turn and look at my shoulder and just rinse out my spine. Breathe in one more time. Exhale, rinse it out. Come back to center. Sweep my arms up. Left hand comes behind me, starting that transverse movement, just stretching out. Right hand comes over left thigh. Inhale. Breathe up, exhale, look to your left shoulder, twist it out. Breathe in, lengthen through, exhale, twist it open, come back to center. My right hand comes up and over, and I'm just tapping myself on the back. Like, good job, you're stretching. So stretching the bottom, the back of your arm, which is your tricep muscle. And then I'm going to bring my arm around to the front, stay away from my elbow tendon, and work my shoulders. So I might then work my wrist flexors and extensors. Told you, head to toe. So lion's paw, dorsiplantar flexion, circle it out. Top of the hand comes to the low back. Other hand comes over the shoulder, pull, stretch. You can learn this sequence and do it every day, up and over for the other side. You have two arms, so we have to stretch both sides. Triceps, shoulder. Stay away from the elbow now. Wrist flexors and extensors, lion paw. Dorsiplantar flexion, just like we do with ankles. Circle them out. Circle out those joint systems. Nice. Bring them out. Small of the hand comes to the low portion of the back. Reach over, stretch. Breathe in and out. Use your breath work and pull your abs in towards your spine, nice and tight. I'm going to extend my legs out in front of me because they've been in flexion now for a little bit. I'm going to sit right up on the sits bones, roll the shoulders back, lift up, and hip hinge. So hamstrings, back of the legs, into the glutes, apple under the chin. Inhale, lengthen through, exhale. Bend your knees as much as you need. So if you have very tight hamstrings, put a pillow under here or a yoga block. Bend the knees. I've seen people here. It's okay, as long as we're not dumping and rounding out the shoulders. We want to keep crown of the head to the sits bones nice and long and lean. Breathe in and out. I'm going to open up. Same thing. You may be very long-legged or very tight under here, and you're here. So don't feel like you have to open up and straddle and tear anything, or even hip hinge. You could be here and feel this nice stretch in your adductors. You may not need the hip hinge, but if you can, remember, apple under the chin, keep your head above your heart and breathe in and out. I'm dorsiflexing my toes towards my knees, and my knee joints are nice and soft. I'm going through these kind of quickly because it's just a long head to toe sequence. Hip flexors, dorsiflex the foot, lengthen it out. Now my hip flexor is coming towards the ceiling. Some of you are very flexible and can lay all the way down in this position, right? In half saddle. I'm not going to lay all the way down because I want to stay connected to you. However, I do feel my hip flexor stretch and supporting myself. Just going to feel that nice stretch, breathe in and out, and then go to the other side. Now, some of you might be able to do full saddle, bend your legs back and go all the way down. I know a few of you can do that. Tight, tight, tight abs, breathe in and out. When we have very tight hip flexors, we have a tendency to have a very tight low back. So we want to open those up, and then we're going to get the rest of the back. We're going to go through the IT band, into the hip flexors, and then into the piriformis, into your glutes. So if you have tight, tight glutes, this is going to help open them up. I'm going to do anjaneyasana next because I want to continue to stretch these hip flexors. So my knee's going to stack over my ankle. I'm going to untuck the other foot. And then I'm going to lift my chest up so that I can get this nice stretch. If I lean into it, I'm out of contraction. Lift up. You may need some blocks to help you. You may need a block under your knee if you need knee support, or a pillow. Just going to do a couple breaths in and out, and then I'm going to dorsiflex my front foot and sit back into my hamstring on this side. This is called half monkey pose, Ardha Hanumasana. And then I'm going to bring my both hands to the front and tilt. Now I'm in a standing straddle fold, and I'm opening up the back of the legs. Apple under the chin, breathing in and out, and allow the stretch. Notice that I have soft knee joints because I'm not wanting to lock out the oxygen. You may need to stretch out the bottoms of your feet so you can come up onto your toes and then back onto your heels and stretch all the way through the fascia if that feels good. If it doesn't, don't do it. Then we're going to turn to the other side. I'm going to drop my leg all the way down. Now, anjaneyasana, or low crescent lunge, on the other side, allowing the stretch. And then I'm going to dorsiflex my foot and come into my half monkey pose and stretch the back of my hamstrings from my Achilles all the way through my calf into my papilledal space under my knee and up into my hamstrings. And I'm going to turn, same thing. Work that standing straddle fold. Halfway lift, and then I'm going to come down and do my figure 4 for my piriformis. So I'm going to show you a couple different ways. The first way, if you're used to doing a figure 4, is you can do this from a seated position. So I'm going to tuck my left ankle as close to my glute as I can get, and then fold my right foot over. Notice that my ankle is hanging off of and not on top of my knee joint. So right across the quad tendon, but it's hanging off, so I'm not putting any kind of pressure on my ankle joint. And then I'm just supporting with my hands and feeling this big opening into my glutes. Now, if this is difficult for you, then you can do this in a supine position and lay down. So I'm going to show you that in just a second. Notice that my toes are dorsiflexed towards my knee. Keep that knee safe. I'm just allowing this stretch. It feels so good. And then you'll release, go to the other side, same thing. Just want to make sure you're not putting any pressure on your ankle joint. So it's hanging off, and you've got this side, your hip is externally rotated. This side, your hip is in a neutral position. So hip flexor follows knee, follows ankle, and your ankle's as tight to your glute as you can get. Just feel that opening. Now, if this were very difficult for me or I needed more support, say for my low back, I can do this in a supine position, supine on the spine. So I'm going to lay down. And then I want to make sure that my low back is supported. I'm going to have an apple under the chin, look straight up. My hip flexors follow knees, follow ankles, ground down, hip width. So if I were to lift my knees and put two fists between them, they're there. I know that I'm in alignment. I'm going to leave my left leg in alignment. Hip flexor, follow knee, follow ankle. Lift my right leg up and then externally rotate at the hip. So again, I'm making that figure 4. My ankle's hanging off and I'm right across my quad tendon, not on my knee joint. And then I'm going to drive my left knee into my chest. Now I'm doing it, but I just have support for my low back. So same work. Sometimes you can get a deeper stretch here because your back is supported. And so you can manipulate with your hands a little bit and breathe in and out. What you don't want to do is lift your low back up off the ground. I've seen this where people have just tried to lift their back off the ground to get their foot to their chest. This lifting your low back in this position is going to hurt your low back. Keep it supported, keep it grounded, like you have just grown roots into your mat, and just allow the stretch. And then you want to breathe in, breathe out. You could take a counter pose and internally rotate and then reset it back up. So now my left side, hip flexor follows knee, follows ankle. Lift the left leg up, cross it over. External rotation on the left side, drive the right knee up. Notice that both toes are dorsiflexed coming towards my knee. It just opens up this muscle. So the rotator muscle, the piriformis, up into the glute that connects glutes and hamstrings together. It's a little, what I would call like your little rotator muscle. It's like having shock absorbers for your spine up into your leg muscles here, up into this area. It's like little shock absorbers. So when you jump, you walk, you skip, you hop, they take the brunt of the movement so that it doesn't affect your skeletal system. And that's what they're there for. And then you can take that little counter move. And if you need to open up your hip flexors a little bit more, you can go to butterfly, put the palms of your feet together, externally rotate on both sides. And then we're going to get our IT band. I'm going to bring them together, turn my hips to the side into simple supine twist, and rinse out that low back. Get that supine, that IT band. You can lengthen out your legs. The whole of the goal here is to keep your shoulders on the mat. So once the shoulder starts to lift up, you're too far over. You may need to put your foot on a block. And then you'll come back to the other side. Shoulders remain on the mat. Stack the hips. And then you can lengthen out if you need to. And you're in transverse movement also, so you're rinsing out that low back and working sciatic nerve all the way down the IT band, all the way down the lateral side of your knee and down into your tibial. And then you can bring that back. Now, we're going to roll up and get our roller. So I brought today my long myofascial roller. Myofascial just means self-massage. So you can go to a massage therapist and get a nice sport massage to get all the knots worked out. Or you can lengthen out your muscles and roll out the knots. Remember, you're rolling muscle, ligament, tendon with a myofascial roller. And this one is a medium grade. So they come in different grades. Some of them are very smooth. Some of them are soft. And so you can start with a soft one and then work your way up to a harder one. And then I have some that have bumps on them that really dig in and get in. I wouldn't use a very hard one right away until you're used to this movement. What I can say is do your workout before you roll your body. Do your stretching before you roll your body. We don't want to roll out our muscles on cold, short muscles. So if you get up in the morning and you haven't stretched out and lengthened out and warmed up your muscles, laying on this is going to hurt a cold muscle. So you want to make sure you've at least done the stretching sequence. So you've warmed everything up and your muscles are a little bit more pliable. Think about it like this. When your muscles are cold, they get really short. Think about the analogy of uncooked pasta, uncooked lasagna noodle. It's short, it's flat, and it's hard and crunchy. So that would be the analogy for a cold muscle. Now, when you cook pasta, it gets al dente. It's pliable, it's flexible, it's soft, right? That's a warmed up muscle. So we want to roll on warm muscles. Doesn't mean you have to be hot and sweaty. It means you have to have some oxygenation in your muscles and you have to have already some movement to make them a little bit more pliable. So think about it that way. I like to use that analogy because it gives people a better sense of where they should be before they do myofascial. We've done our workout or we've done our stretches and we're warmed up 3 to 5 minutes. We went about 10 to 15 minutes for our stretching and we went head to the bottom, right into our legs. And now we're going to do some stretching. I'm going to show you low back up to the shoulders, hip flexors, IT band. That's what we're going to work today. You can also lay across this, open up your spine. You want to be really gentle with yourself. We're not trying to hurt ourselves with a myofascial roller. If I were to work my low back first, I'm going to put the roller right on my low back. Now, I'm going to use my legs and my arms as my monitor of how much pressure I put my low back in. If I loosen my legs and my arms, there's more pressure in my low back on my myofascial roller. And that actually feels really good for me, but I roll all the time. And the pressure feels good. So I'm doing like an isometric here. But if I'm just starting out, I might want to use my legs and my arms more and be more gentle on my low back. And then you'll just start to roll up and down. You might need to turn a little bit so you can get one little spot. And you're just going to roll like you would roll out dough, right? But you're rolling out your muscles. Now I might want to go a little farther and then go up into my spine and my back. But I'm using my hands and my legs to control how much pressure I put on. And that's starting to feel really good. And then I might want to put more pressure on and roll up into my upper back. I'm going to open up my shoulder blades. I'm going to support my head by making a little basket for my neck. And then I'm just going to roll up and down into my upper spine, my upper back, my scapulae. And then right up against those traps, lats, and rhomboids. And then when I feel like that feels good, I've done enough, then I'm just going to gently come off of it. Now, when you do myofascial rolling, you want to make sure you hydrate your body. If you've ever gone to a massage therapist and they've manipulated and gotten the knots out, I'm just getting giddy thinking about it. Feels so good, right? But before you leave the massage studio, what do they tell you? Drink water. And sometimes they won't let you leave until you've had at least 8 ounces of water. You want to do the same thing when you do myofascial rolling. Myofascial rolling, as good as it is for you, will dehydrate you because you're, again, manipulating the muscles, the tendons, and the ligaments, working out those knots and rolling out, just like when we pound out chicken and make it tender, that's what you're doing. You want to hydrate, so make sure you drink water after you do myofascial rolling. Don't just get on it, roll it out, and go out the door. You're going to get very dehydrated. You want to do that. So we've done our upper back, I've done the middle back, I've done the low back. I'm just showing you for today, so you can stay on this as much as you need until you feel like that feels good. I want to work down into my IT band. Now your IT band is thin, so you may need more support and less pressure on the IT band. So I'm going to put my hand down and put my hip right up on the roller. And then I'm going to put my one leg out long, the one I'm rolling, and then take my other foot over the top. Now I can use this leg and this arm as support, right? So if I need to get off my hip a little bit, I'm going to push into my leg. And then I'm just going to roll while my leg's out and roll all the way down. I'm not going to roll onto my knee joint. I'm going to roll up to my knee joint and then down the side of my leg. And you're going to feel that because your IT band is thin there. So it's just going to feel like there's a lot of pressure there. I'm going to roll down and I'm going to roll up. And then I'm going to come off of it very gently. Woo! You can really feel that. Apparently, Jax feels like Hope needs a bath. So then we're just going to go to the other side. So again, you're going to put your hand down, put your hip right on your roller. Okay. So now we're going to go to the other side. Just going to put your hand down, gentle with your wrist. Put your hip up on the roller. Notice that my shoulders and my hips are in alignment. I'm going to lengthen out the bottom leg. That's the leg I'm rolling out. And my other foot is going to go to the top. And then I'm just going to roll down and roll up. Now you may feel like one side feels tighter than the other. That's just, again, giving your body information. Just roll all the way down, then up to the knee joint. Until you feel like that has stretched everything out. From there, so we've gotten low back to shoulders. Down, you can roll farther into your glutes if you need to and your hamstrings. That would look like you're on the other side here. So you're rolling glutes and then rolling hamstrings. And you can do one leg at a time. And that's how that would look. You've done your IT band all the way down the side. Now we want to get your hip flexors. Hip flexors. So you can just put pressure on your hip flexors. my leg's going to come up into the air. I'm going to work one side at a time. So I'm going to push into my hip flexor and roll. And then push into my hip flexor and roll. Push into my hip flexor and roll. And you just roll it out like a rolling pin. You can roll shoulders this way. I like doing a different stretch to get this. I'll show you that one day. And then the last thing you can do is open up your spine by laying across it. Now, when you're doing this one, you want to be able to get off of it if you need to, and you want a nice long roller. So this would be the roller that you would want. I'm just going to lay over the top of it, open up my arms, then open up my legs, and allow the stretch. It's almost like fish pose. So you're going to feel your rib cage open up, your spine open up, your shoulders open up, and you'll feel the shoulder girdle open up, your chest will open up. And so that's just another way. And then when you want to come off of it, you're just going to roll to one side that you've got support and then sit up. So that is myofascial rolling. I love rolling. And I would suggest that you get a long one so that it can be full body, and you get a short one so that you can really manipulate certain areas. So the shorter ones fit better on the front of the shoulder, where this longer one can cover like all the way from the top of your shoulders into your glutes. A smaller one you can get like travel size if you need to, and throw that in a suitcase with you and take it with you. There are even smaller ones that you could roll. Say you have wrist issues, you can roll out your arms, and that feels good, especially if you use a lot of your hands. You use the computer a lot, right? So you can also do that. And you can use little tennis balls to roll out like your feet if you need to. So you would put the ball underneath and use that. You can use the roller for calves if you need calf work. So it will look like this, and you can turn your foot, get that outside, right down the middle. You get the inside. You can do that way. You can also use a tennis ball for your calves, and that feels really good. And you can put pressure. You could just hold that into a spot, like if you find a spot, and then that'll feel good. So, right, there's a little spot. This just feels like tension, feels tight, and then it releases. So that is myofascial rolling. That is a full body stretch sequence. Don't forget those joint systems. This could be married to stretches and rehab for those joint systems. We did knees, we did hips, we did low back, we did ankles, we did shoulders, we did wrist flexors and extensors to the elbow. So it could be warm up, do this full body stretch, roll it out, do your rehab, and you're good to go. So that could be one day that you take out of your everyday I move. This could be like a therapy day where you love yourself a little bit and do some self massage. Consider that you can also then, after this, get into a soak and do an Epsom salt soak with some aromatherapy. Your body will love you for it. Don't forget to hydrate, especially after you use a myofascial roller, because you need to hydrate. This dehydrates you. And I would consider maybe a little extra. So if you're doing your 8 ounces of water and you myofascial myofascial, think about this as a caffeinated drink. So you're going to chase this with water. I hope that you enjoyed this. Keep working, keep moving, keep stretching, and love your body. And it will love you back. And that's that journey to wellness. If you haven't, again, already, don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends so that we can get this information out to everybody. I hope that you enjoy. Don't forget to live your life 360, and I will see you for the next workout. Bye.